Okay, so this is our simple box head scene. We've got our what I call blend shapes, which are duplicates of this original head shape, and then reposed into certain expressions. What I've done, I've kept this really, really simple. Usually rigs have tons and tons of blend shapes. I've tried to make this absolute bare minimum. So we've got two mouth shapes here. It's kind of an ooh shape and an ah shape. And then we've got three brow shapes here: angry, worried, and blink. Okay, now we keep these separate. Okay, so you can see I've kept the eye positions are kept neutral whilst the mouth's moving, and then the mouth is kept neutral while the eye position's moving. It basically works on the offset of the vertices. So if you have both of these working at the same time, so if I had an expression on the eyes when he's doing the U shape, it means that I wouldn't be able to combine these blend shapes together. If you keep these in a neutral pose, it means that I can make him, say, do an U shape and then have a worried brow expression as well. You can blend these two things together. So first of all, you can see I've got a simple skeleton rig in here. We just want to bind the head to that because at the moment, look, there's no relationship with that. So we're going to just pick the topmost root in the hierarchy. So we've got this sort of like dummy chest bone here below the neck. And then I'm just going to hold Control Shift down and pick the head. And then in my rigging menu, go skin, bind skin, and just do it by joint hierarchy, usual settings, 3 and 10 drop off and apply. Okay, so we should see now that this is binded to the actual head model, but you can see the eyes aren't at the moment, so we'll do that now. We'll do the eyes, so we'll pick that eye joint there and that eyeball. And we'll do this by selected joints now. So I go apply, and that one there, and that one, and again, selected joints, apply. Now, because we did a hierarchical bind, first of all, this little eye joint will have some influence over the mesh. So look, like this. So pretty grim. So what we're going to do, we can see that the eyeball is 100% weighted to this, but we do not want this to be influenced. So what I can do is just pick that eye joint and that eye joint, then pick the head mesh and go to skin and edit influences and remove that influence. So now the only thing that is influenced by this bone is the eyes. Okay, so let's move this about now and just see if it's working properly. That's all good, but we will notice something here. Look, when I pull this back, can you see his chin is stretching? So there's some weighting of the vertices on the bottom of the chin onto this neck joint, which we want to just improve a little bit. You know, you can spend ages doing the paint weights, but we'll just do this quickly. So as always, I put a bit of animation on this. So I'm just going to key the head bone in this position, go to about frame 10, and I'll key the head in this position like so. So you can see, just so I can see that chin deforming. I'm then going to go into paint weight, so I'm going to pick the head, go back to my rigging shelf, this icon here, double click on it, brings up the tool settings for the paint weights, and let's have a look. We want to right click on this bone here and select influence. So I'm looking at the verts that are influenced by this head bone. Okay, now I'm going to make the opacity and the value nice and high, one on each. B for the brush size, just drag left and right, holding the left mouse button. If I just brush over these, you should see the chin is now moving up to follow the position of that bone. Okay, so I'm not going to do a heck of a lot of paint weights fixing. I'm just going to basically fix that. If I see any glitches later on, I can always fix those later. Okay, so if we have a look at that now, you can see that's following that absolutely fine. Back of the neck's not too bad. That will do for this. Once you've finished doing that, just press Q to cancel the tool. You can hide that away. And we've got the basic weights set up all right with that. Just see there's some weird shading on that. If I just go to Mesh Display and Soften Edges, I think that's got rid of that. That's okay. Now, what this has done, look, I've done my paint weights, but just doing that soften edge thing has just created some history on this. So I like to try to keep no construction history on a rigged model. So I'm just going to go Edit, delete by type, and non-deformer history. This means it will delete that construction history, but it won't delete our skin weight history. Okay, so you can see that it's just left us with this skin cluster, which is our skin weight history. Okay, so that's all good. The next step is to apply the blend shapes. Okay, so to do this, we just pick all the blend shapes, like so. We then pick the master shape last, and we go to our rigging mode, and we want deform, and right at the top here is blend shape, and we go to the options, and we'll give the blend shape node a name, so we'll call it faces. And now this is important. I don't know whether this is a little bug in Maya, and I thought they'd got rid of it in the last version, but I don't think they have. You just need to click on this advanced tab. This sort of just tells Maya that it needs to put the blend shape history order in the correct place, because you basically want the blend shapes to operate based on the position of the rig, the bones, the joints, as it were. Okay, so if the head is like, lent over here, you want the blend shape to operate relative to the position of that bone. So it's very important that the history of the blend shape is in the right place. It's not something you have to worry about too much, but you'll see it if it goes wrong. Okay, so if you click on this tab, make sure this is set to automatic. By clicking on this tab, it kind of puts it in the right place, and then we just go apply. Now what this has done, if I select the head, it's created this faces node here, and it's sat below the skin cluster 1. So what it means is that it should operate relative to this bone position. I'll show you what I mean. So if I click on this, look, we've got all our blend shape names there. Now to get the blend shape names in, you make sure you name the meshes. Okay, so you can see each of these I've named accordingly, so they're descriptive of what the expression's meant to be. So if I click on faces here, here are the blend shapes. The envelope is the kind of global control. If you set that to 0, none of your blend shapes work. So you just leave that alone. That's for more advanced stuff, but it's not to worry about at the moment. So if I click on the worry, and if I middle drag left and right, you can see that turns that blend shape on and off. Okay, the blink one, that works fine. And let's try the ooh shape. That's all fine. Angry eyes, yeah, that's all good. Now to check they work properly, stick the head over at an angle like this and pick the blend shapes again. So pick the mesh, let's do the shape, and just make sure that these blend shapes operate relative to the position of that joint. If suddenly that blend shape tries to go back to this position where the bone's upright, it means the history order is incorrect. And you'd want to delete the blend shapes and start again. Not all the blend shapes, to delete the blend shape history. Okay, you don't have to do a delete history or delete binded skin. You can do that from in Windows. Let's have a look, animation editors, and down the bottom is something called the shape editor. You click on that. This is also where your blend shapes live. Okay, so if I wanted to delete all of these, I can just click on the blend shape, and look, there's a little bin there, and that deletes the blend shapes, but make sure that we keep our skin weighting. I'll try and show you when it goes wrong. Okay, so if I pick all these, let's see if it will do it for me. It probably won't now, as I'm trying to demonstrate. If I go to blend shape like this, give it a name faces. I'm not going to click in this advanced tab, so I'm going to go apply. Yep, it's done it wrong. Look, you can see faces is above skin cluster 1. So it all looks like it might work, but if I tilt the head over like this, and then I apply one of those blend shapes, can you see the head is then going back to that position? So that's when the construction history is wrong. Okay, so we need to get rid of those blend shapes. So I'm just going to undo this, pick that, go back to Windows, animation editors, and the shape editor. I could just hit undo a few times, but I just want to show you this again. And you can delete individual blend shapes, but I'm deleting the whole envelope like so. Okay, I will reapply them. Now this is just another crucial thing about doing blend shapes. You have to make sure these head positions, they've got their offset here. Okay, so if I type in 000 here, like this, they go right on top of the original head. Okay, so you must make sure they've got that offset in them. Okay, you don't want to create all your blend shapes, move them up here, then freeze their transforms to 0 them. I know that's always good practice with modeling, but not with blend shapes. They need to know their kind of relative position to the master head. So all of these heads have got their pivots localized in the same place as this one has, at the bottom of the neck. And if I 0 their translations and their rotations and whatever, they will always sit right on top of the master shape. Okay, so let's apply those blend shapes once more. Deform, blend shape, faces, and just click in that advanced tab so it understands we're doing automatic positioning. Close that down, you can see faces underneath there. If we test them now, they should be all good. Let's have a look. That's good. Okay. Now this head is kind of ready. You could animate it as it is, that it all works like so. I think the eye bones work and so on, yeah. And the blend shapes work. But the blend shapes are quite tricky to operate in here. They're very sort of, they're just going through a decimal value of sort of 0 to 1. So it's a little bit on off. But you can key them. You can right click and key them here. like so. But what we're going to do next is create some controllers for controlling those blend shapes. Okay.